The trio followed the final clue etched into the stone. They entered the heart of the labyrinth, its hedges towering above them like ancient sentinels. The air crackled with magic and the path twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the unknown. And there, at the center of the maze, they found Chris. His eyes widened in surprise as he saw them emerge from the verdant corridors. His once pruned hands were now rough and dirt-streaked, testament to years spent navigating this mystical realm. He wore a cloak woven from ivy leaves, and his hair bore traces of moss and dew. "Welcome," Chris said, his voice a whisper carried by the wind. "I've been waiting for you, for this moment." He explained how the maze was a bridge between worlds, a place where lost souls and forgotten dreams converged. Chris had become its guardian, unraveling its secrets, seeking answers to questions he hadn't known to ask. Ben, still battling his inner demons, looked at Chris with a mix of awe and envy. "Why?" he asked. "Why stay here?" Chris smiled, a wistful glimmer in his eyes. "Because this is where I belong. The maze, it's my purpose. And perhaps in helping you find the Lost Atari Cartridge, I find redemption." Paul, ever the optimist, pulled out his portable speaker. The strains of an 80s epic soundtrack filled the labyrinth, echoing off the emerald walls. The music seemed to breathe life into the very foliage around them. Chris's eyes softened and he nodded. "Your music, it reminds me of home." Dave stepped forward, his lantern casting a warm glow. "Chris," he said, "you're not alone. We're all lost in our own ways. But together we can find our way back." And so, the quartet stood there. The trio, the gardener, and the Lost Atari Cartridge. Bound by fate and the intertwining paths of the labyrinth, the earth met the sky, and hope bloomed anew.
The music from Paul's portable speaker continued to weave its magic, and Dave's lantern flickered like a beacon of hope. Chris's heart swirled with conflicting emotions. He had spent years tending to the mystical garden, unraveling its secrets and seeking solace in its enigmatic beauty. But now, faced with the prospect of returning home, he felt torn. He closed his eyes, remembering his wife's warm smile, the way she would greet him after a long day of pruning roses and coaxing daffodils to bloom. His children, with their laughter echoing through the estate, chasing butterflies and playing hide-and-seek among the ancient oaks. With a determined nod, Chris made his choice. "I must return," he said softly, "to my loving wife, to my children. They deserve to know what happened, to understand why I vanished that fateful day." Dave stepped forward, placing a hand on Chris's shoulder. "You're not alone," he said. "We'll find a way to guide you back, and when you return, take with you this lesson from the labyrinth. Life is a maze, full of twists and turns. Sometimes we lose our way, but there's always a path back, a sweet return." Chris's eyes widened as Dave handed him a small pouch. Inside were sugary confections, candied violets, rose petal jellies, and honey-infused marzipan. Each treat held a memory, a taste of home. "Remember," Dave said, "life's sweetness lies not only in the destination but in the journey itself. Share these sweets with your family and let them know that even in the darkest of mazes, love and hope endure." And so, with the trio by his side, Chris stepped through the final archway of the labyrinth. The world shifted, and he found himself standing in his own garden, the roses in full bloom, the daffodils nodding in approval. His wife rushed toward him, tears in her eyes, and his children clung to his legs, laughing and asking where he had been. Chris held out the pouch of sugary sweets, and as they tasted the delicate flavors, he whispered, "Life took me on a winding path, my loves, but now I'm home." And in that moment, surrounded by blossoms and the embrace of his family, Chris knew that the labyrinth had given him more than clues. It had given him a second chance.